Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
6:55 on Wall Street. Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. I'm Nathan Hager, joined by Bloomberg's Dan Curtis. Starting off with a stock on the move in a big way overseas, Dan, but this is being affected by action in the U.S. Tell us what's going on with Bayer this morning.
Morning. Yeah, so Bayer, the shares are up over 11%, as you mentioned. They trade over here in Europe and Germany. The Trump administration came out and has urged the U.S. Supreme Court to take up Bayer's appeal on a Missouri lawsuit blaming Roundup weed killer for causing cancer. The recommendation came from the U.S. Solicitor General Sauer. He oversees this for the administration. And Rothschild Analyst says that this recommendation means that it's very likely the U.S. Supreme Court will hear it. About 70% of challenges with this recommendation do get heard by the Supreme Court. That's a lot more than the 1% or fewer of just the general appeals that people try to get the Supreme Court to hear. So this case kind of this appeal centers around federal versus state rights in making this decision, but it's about a lawsuit that has plagued Bayer since it bought Monsanto in 2018. It's focused on chemical used up in the weed killer Roundup and the complaints that it did cause cancer. Again, this is just going to be, push the needle potentially towards Bayer's favor for this appeal. And Bayer said, it still has about 6 billion euros set aside for 67,000 cases remaining around the chemical use. So more certainty and a little bit more clarity around what might happen down the lines legally for this lawsuit will help investors kind of make that decision. So that's helping the stock pop over 10% today.
Well, we're waiting for some clarity on what's going to happen with Warner Brothers Discovery. We're hearing some of the potential takeover candidates have been sweetening their bids. Are investors putting a bid into Warner's this morning?
They are by about 2% higher, bringing the stock just shy of $25 a share. And as you mentioned, so there's 3 companies that are making a bid for Warner Brothers. Those are Netflix, Paramount, and Comcast. Netflix is said to have made a primarily cash offer for the firm. That's according to people familiar with matters. And it's going to help determine the future of Warner Brothers. So Comcast, Netflix, they're only interested in Warner Brothers Studios. If they win, Warner Brothers will continue to spin off the cable channels. And again, this offer is binding. So as these bids come in, that means if Warner Brothers likes the sound of it, the deal could, and they accept it, the deal could move forward pretty quickly. We're in round 2 of bidding. Warner Brothers is said to want $30 a share. Not sure exactly where all the bids came in because the details are still trickling out. There may be more rounds, but once Warner Brothers sees a deal that it likes, if it does, the deal could move pretty quickly.
Let's talk about the biggest topside mover this morning, MongoDB. Why is this stock spiking?
Yeah, so MongoDB, it's a company that doesn't get a lot of general usage from the population. It's used more by software engineers, but it's a document database company, and it has a very flexible structure, so it allows other companies to plug in pretty easily into the document database. It reported $628 million of revenue in the third quarter. That topped estimates, and the company raised its projections for next year. So that's just popping up over 20% in pre-market.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.